about checking whether we are broadcasting or not, which I'm never able to check here. Yeah, it goes up and to me it's saying something else. But anyway, let's just see.
No, it's showing, Mataji.
Okay, that's good. Let's see. I think it should be for me also, because I could hear the beep. Yes, it is. Okay. So I think Varshana Mataji has also joined us here. Varshana Mataji, Dandat Pranams. Is she here?
Dandat Pranam, Mataji. Wish you a very happy birthday.
Thank you. Okay, so Varshana Mataji, we are already broadcasting on Facebook because I have a hard stop at 10 o'clock your time. So just wanted to make use of this time gainfully. And let us just go ahead. Okay, why is everybody out? This is not good. I think I have forgotten to remove the waiting room. Okay, so let's get started with this brief prayer to the spiritual master. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamilam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Manchakalpatarubhyascha Vipasindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Welcome to our Bhagavad Gita reading class today, dear devotees. Happy to have you here. And thank you for making this intelligent decision of spending your Saturday morning or Friday evening or Friday late evening in the pursuance of study of the Shastras. So, from where shall we begin today? Tell me.
616?
616, correct, for 500 points. And let us see where is 616 for me. Let me bring it up and start sharing on my screen. Okay, can you see that?
Yes, Mataji.
All right, thank you so much for confirming that. And let's see. nāty-aśnatastu yogosti ekāntam anaśnataḥ cāti-svapna-śīlasya jāgrato naiva cārjuna. nāty-aśnatastu yogosti ekāntam anaśnataḥ cāti-svapna-śīlasya jāgrato naiva cārjuna. nāty-aśnatastu yogosti ekāntam anaśnataḥ cāti-svapna-śīlasya jāgrato naiva cārjuna. Synonyms: na, never; ati, too much; aśnataḥ, of one who eats; to do, but; yogaḥ, linking with the Supreme; asti, there is; na, nor; cha, also; ekāntam, overly; anaśnataḥ, abstaining from eating; na, nor; cha, also; ati, too much; cāti-svapna-śīlasya, of one who sleeps, jāgratāḥ, of one who keeps night watch too much, nā, not, eva, ever, ca, and Arjuna, O Arjuna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. There is no possibility of becoming a yogi, O Arjuna. So, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. Okay. So here, Srila Prabhupada is focusing on, or Krishna is focusing on possibility of one's becoming a yogi, right? And the reason for that is that this particular chapter is on Dhyan Yoga. We are trying to connect, we're trying to become a Dhyan yogi. So here, in the previous verses, there were certain things that was told what a yogi is supposed to do. Do you remember what a yogi is supposed to do from the previous verses? What does a yogi do?
He sits on Dhyan Yoga. He sits in yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. And
what is the meaning of sitting in Ashtanga Yoga?
Means step by step. He is doing yoga, meditating.
In the previous verses, the immediate previous verses.
Immediate
not the concept of the chapter.
Okay.
Previous verses. What were
Mataji, he sits straight with his back straight and his concentration on the tip of his nose.
Correct.
Yeah.
He tries to control his body and mind.
Deer skin.
Deer skin or kushagras.
Yes. And then between the kushagras and him, what is the?
Soft cloth.
Soft cloth, right? Chail Arjuna, right? So yeah. So she's telling that you have to do this, and this in order to become a yogi. And now in today's verse, what is he saying? He's taking it a step further. And he's saying that, okay, now that you're sitting there, and even if you are a yogi, and you have gone to the forest, right? You have left everything. There is that, it also said go to a secluded place, right? So a good example of a secluded place is either you go to the desert where you will die of thirst, or you go to a forest, at least some food will be there, right? So now what he's saying is that even for a yogi, a person he's become a yogi, he's left his family probably, and he's sitting there. But for him also, the rules and regulations are coming. And what are the rules and regulations from today's verse?
Not sleeping, not eating too much, not eating too less, and not sleeping too much, and not
sleeping at all, or less.
Sleeping at all. Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So he's focusing on two things: sleep and
eating.
Right. We love to do both of the things. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Eating, sleeping are the first two there, right? That a jiva does. Right? So first and foremost, the first two are gone. And so Krishna is telling about a balance to be maintained. Right? So let's look at the meanings that are there in today's verse. So nāty-aśnatas yogosti. Right? So aśnataḥ has got to do with eating. So where else in Bhagavad Gita does Krishna talk about eating? In which chapter does he talk about eating?
Mataji, patram pushpam phalam toyam.
Okay, so where is the eating in there?
Like there is one shloka which Krishna says that whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever.
It's right after that. That one.
Yad yoshi.
Yad karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad jihoshi, dadashi, yad tapassasi kaunteya, tat kurushvamat arpanam. Right?
Yes.
Good. That's good citation. So that will take you. And let's bring up that verse. Okay, so we should know very clearly what is Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam verse, the number for that.
926.
34,
926.
24 or 26? Should I take average of
26, mother. 26.
926, right? Okay, so after 926 will come what?
27.
Right. So here, what he's saying in the, let me just start sharing the screen. So in 926, which is your verse, right? The verse that you quoted, 926 is here. patram pushpam phalam toyam yo maya bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upaharitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Right? So he says that I will, whatever one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. Okay? So this is basically about Krishna's eating, right? You have offered it to Krishna. Krishna's eating, right? And in the verse after that, here he's saying, Yat karoshi yat ashnasi. Here's the ashnasi word. Eating is coming here. Ashnasi. This one, right? Today also, aśnataḥ, right? Like that. Yat karoshi yat ashnasi. You eat, right? So here in the translation, Prabhupada is saying, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away. So in this case, we are doing all these things. We are also eating. And whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. Right? It is the duty of everyone to mold his life in such a way that he will not forget Krishna in any circumstance. Everyone has to work for maintenance of his body and soul together. And Krishna recommends hearing that one should work for him. Everyone has to eat something to live, therefore he should accept the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna. Any civilized man has to perform some ritualistic ceremonies, therefore Krishna recommends, do it for me. And this is called Arjuna. Everyone has a tendency to give something in charity. Krishna says, give it to me. And this means that all surplus money accumulated should be utilized in furthering the Krishna consciousness movement. Nowadays, people are very much inclined to the meditational process, which is not practical in this age. But if anyone practices meditating on Krishna 24 hours a day by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra around his beads, he is surely the greatest meditator and the greatest yogi, as substantiated by the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, right? So we are today on the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, right? And then further down, three chapters later also, when we are chapter number 9, still Krishna is referring to, the fact that, okay, you might talk about doing meditation. The world is headed towards meditation. Meditation is so popular. Yoga is so popular and things like that. But he's saying, no, the best thing to do is to do bhakti, right? So there's food, there's talk of food there, and then there is talk of food, here, and then there's a reference to talk of food there also in chapter number 9. So here basically Krishna is talking about the do's and the, they're not do's and the don't, but the don'ts, right? Like don't eat too little, don't eat too much, don't sleep too little, don't sleep too much. Like don't, right? Right? So na is there in every cāti-svapna-śīlasya. So let's see what Prabhupada says in the purport for this. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So regulation of diet and sleep is recommended herein for the yogis. Too much eating means eating more than is required to keep the body and soul together. There is no need for men to eat animals because there is an ample supply of grains, vegetables, fruits, and milk. Such simple foodstuff is considered to be in the mode of goodness according to the Bhagavad Gita. Animal food is for those in the mode of ignorance. Therefore, those who indulge in animal food, drinking, smoking, and eating food which is not first offered to Krishna will suffer sinful reactions because of eating only polluted things. Bhunjate ta tetva agham papa ye pachanti atma karana. Anyone who eats for sense pleasure or cooks for himself, not offering his food to Krishna, eats only sin. One who eats sin and eats more than is allotted to him cannot execute perfect yoga. It is best that one eat only the remnants of foodstuff offered to Krishna. A person in Krishna consciousness does not eat anything which is not first offered to Krishna. Therefore, only the Krishna conscious person can attain perfection in yoga practice. Nor can one who artificially abstains from eating, manufacturing his own personal process of fasting, practice yoga. The Krishna conscious person observes fasting as it is recommended in the scriptures. He does not fast or eat more than is required, and he is thus competent to perform yoga practice. One who eats more than is required will dream very much while sleeping, and he must consequently sleep more than is required. One should not sleep more than 6 hours daily. One who sleeps more than 6 hours after 24 hours is certainly influenced by the mode of ignorance. A person in the mode of ignorance is lazy and prone to sleep a great deal. Such a person cannot perform yoga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so I'll stop here and I will open up for your observations and comments on what you heard so far. And also welcome Madhav Sangini Mataji and Lakshmi, Bhaktin Lakshmi.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I'm sorry, Mataji. Another class got delayed.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, the person who sleeps more than 6 hours is in mode of ignorance. That is the main thing. And
Yes. Correct? Anything else?
Mataji, I really like the point that only the person, only Krishna conscious person can obtain perfection in yoga practice, nor can one who artificially abstains from eating, manufacturing his own personal process of fasting, practice yoga. So it is not artificially, you should not do it. It should be your, it's ingrained in you. You should be, you should do it because the Shastras also saying, and it is good for your health. Correct. As well as it is recommended.
Right, right. And in our case, you see that fasting, it's not just recommended that you fast like that. We fast on special days, right? We'll fast on Janmashtami, we fast on Ekadashi. So don't manufacture anything of your own, right? Okay. And talking about Ekadashi, as you can see, Prabhupada said that fast from grains. And then people have extended it to such a far extent that, don't eat this, don't eat tomatoes. Is tomato a grain? So how far we can go and manufacture our own things.
Correct.
Right?
That's
so he just said fast from grains. That's it. Can I eat radish? Can I eat carrots? Your yardstick should be don't, fast from grains. Now, if you want to make it more austere, that's a different thing. But then that is not necessarily what Ekadashi is telling you to do. Go ahead.
Mataji, how come? Oh, sorry.
Madha Sangini here.
Yeah, I tend to sleep more than 6 hours. If I sleep only 6 hours, I feel very sleepy. If not the next day, in 2 or 3 days, I feel tired and sleepy.
And let's just take Sutapa's question. What was your question also related to this?
No, Mataji, but when I was talking to you, before the class, I also thinking the same thing. Nowadays, I'm also feeling tired if I sleep less than 6 hours or 6 hours. Because then in the afternoon also, I'm feeling sleepy. And my question is different, means how come the tomato is related to the grain?
That's what I'm saying. You manufacture your own thing. You speculate and you manufacture and then you make it more difficult. And you say, no, this is also not allowed. Tomato is not a grain.
Yeah.
Grains and beans. That's what he said. Tomato is not a bean. Right?
Thank you for letting us
know. And then again, it's like, don't take hing. Don't take haldi, right? So those are two very good things for you, right? So why? So then you have to go and understand the philosophy behind it. Neither hing nor haldi is a grain, right? But what happens is when you eat them in the powdered form in the market, right? You buy it in the powdered form in the market. What happens is both haldi and hing can absorb the moisture from the air. Like how, salt can absorb moisture from the air. During the winter season, the salt bottle becomes so full of water. It's a natural tendency for that substance to do. Now, in order to avoid that from happening, what people do is they will put some grains of rice, right? Little grains of rice you put in your salt cellar, because that will absorb all the moisture, and the moisture won't go to the salt, it will go to the rice, right? So like that. So similarly, what they also do is in the hing and in the haldi, they will add powdered rice, right? So that the hing doesn't absorb it from the atmosphere. That's the only reason. If you can get hing which does not have rice added to it, you can eat it, because then it is not a grain. So we have to be careful in our understanding, and that's what Prabhupada is saying, that don't manufacture things on your own. And the moment you manufacture things like that, then you're becoming too stern on yourself. And being too stern on yourself is not good. Because sooner or later you will, you'll go to the other extreme and run away from it. Devotional service is joyfully performed. Right? All that they say in Ekadashi is that, if your body constitution is like that, you cannot fast the whole day. If you can fast, you can fast. If you can go without drinking water, you go without drinking water. But the basics of Ekadashi, and first we should have the basics right. The basics of Ekadashi are that you fast from grains and beans, and that's it. If you want to drink water, drink water. Actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur once said when he was in the preaching, propagating preaching of Krishna, preaching Krishna consciousness, then he told to his disciples that, go out, distribute books, preach. And then he said that in order to distribute books on a Ekadashi day, even if you have to eat rice, you eat rice. If nothing else is available and only rice is available, you're hungry, how can I do book distribution without having something in the stomach? Then eat rice and go. It was very, very practical like that. Okay. So we just manufacture these things by ourselves. And now talking about don't eat too much and don't eat too little, right? So basically this verse is talking about balancing, right? Do the right amount of things. Now, the right amount can vary from one person to another person. Some people can eat a mountain of rice and nothing happens to them. They have a very fast, high metabolic rate. Whatever they eat gets digested, nothing happens to them, right? And then some don't have it. So if the moment they overeat, it'll be like, oh, now I'm belching, now I'm having, khatti dikar, all that kind of stuff. They'll say, where is Eno and where is Hajmola? They'll do like that, right? Again, if we wonder why a particular person has high metabolic rate and can get away by eating loads and loads of things and they stay slim also. And the other person, just takes one extra samosa and his digestion is all spoiled, right? So these are two different body types, two different types of body. One body has got high metabolic rate, other doesn't. And then the question is that why did that person get that high metabolic rate and why did I not get a high metabolic rate? I also want to enjoy, right? So why does it happen? Why do you think it is like that? Why does us two souls get two different types of body?
Sometimes it's previous karma and the desires from previous birth.
It is exactly the answer. Those of you who are reading chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita in the chat, right? What's the question Arjuna asked? Kim tadbram, kim adhyatmam, kim karma, purushottama. Kim karma, what is karma? Right? And then what does Krishna say? Bhuta bhavod karo visarga karma sangita. So he says that which leads to the development of the body, material body, is called karma. So according to your karma, you will get a particular type of a body. And then of course the desires, you'll get a particular type of a body. So if you had a desire to enjoy a lot of food and you have got good karma to be able to enjoy it, then you'll get a body with a high metabolic rate. Right? If you're bound to suffer, that I will look at samosas, I look at rasagullas, but I have diabetes, I cannot do this, that, I get acidity if I have samosa like that. Well, you have been given a body like that so that you suffer, right? So it comes from our karmic, from the karmas, what that we have done and the desires that we have accumulated through many, 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 many lifetimes. So, and I'll come to your answer, Adha Sangini Mataji. I'm just focusing right now on the eating part of it, right? So let's look at the verse again. Where is my verse? Wait a minute, I closed it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So, yeah, okay. So here, Prabhupada, when it talks about do not eat too little, do not eat too much, sleep too little, sleep too much, right? So then he says, what is too much eating? Too much eating means more than is required to keep the body and the soul together, right? More than that is what is required. Now, somebody might require a lot. A tall man cannot survive on 2 chapatis, might eat, 6 or 8. The body is like that, right? An elephant eats so much of food, right? An ant might not eat. A squirrel might not eat that much food, right? But then, so all that we need to do is to keep the body and the soul together. This is very, very important here. Keeping the body and the soul together is very, very important aspect. Why? Because in this material world, if the soul has to do anything, then the soul needs the body. Without this body, you cannot do anything. So you have to eat. Otherwise, the soul will leave the body. Right? And this body is a human body. It's really a gift that we have got, because it's only through the human body that we can perform devotional service to the right maximum and efficiently. There are animals also who have been devotees, but not in general. Right? But in general, human beings can perform devotional service. So that's why once we have got this body, we have to take care of it. Right? So now, this body sometimes is also known as a car, right? In the examples, we always give the example of a car, right? So you are the driver and this body is the car. So soul is the driver and you are the car. The body is the car, right? And that's why when you think that I am, when you falsely think that I am this body, which also means that I am this car, aham car. Who are you? Aham car. I am the car, right? So ahankar, that is ahankar. False ego, that I think I am this body, right? So if you have a good car, like what are the good cars going around these days? I don't even know. Lost interest in cars now. What are some nice models going on? Anybody know? Or you all good? Like
Many people buy Tesla these days.
okay, Tesla. All right. So Tesla, right? So we could buy a Tesla, the best in the top in the, the range that is there offered by Tesla. And so we have to take care of the Tesla, right? It's a car. It's so you have to take care of it. You make sure it's oil, you make sure it's maintained, make sure it is washed and polished and everything like that, right? And now the question is that what are you supposed to do with that Tesla? You spend so much of money, you put gas in it. Oh, no, doesn't work on gas. And then you put, you got it clean and got it maintained and all that. But what is the purpose? If you stand next to your Tesla the whole time and admire what a beauty it is, I've seen people, so crazy about a car that one of them used to go and if he was, walking around a town and if he found a car was very nice, he would go and kiss the car. Can you imagine? People can be like that, right? So the purpose of a Tesla car is to take you to a particular destination. If you stand next by a Tesla and say it's a wonderful car, you can stand there forever, right? But the purpose of the car is to take you to a destination. Similarly, the purpose of this body is for you to take you to a particular destination, right? Do not get too much obsessed with the car, Tesla, and do not get too much obsessed with the body also, right? So when people say that, oh, well, I need to get my nails done, I want to get my eyebrows, this, that, right? All that kind of stuff, that don't do it too much unless it is necessary, right? In some cases, you are in a job where you're supposed to look, prim and proper, then that's fine. But overindulgence, right? As Vaishaka Prabhu always says, like, what's the deal with the nails? Why are people always getting nails done? And I mean, when I came here, everywhere that you go, there are beauty parlors, nail polishes, like 700 shades of nail polish. And then like that, right? So don't get obsessed by just, by the body that you have to eat, right? Eat and eat and eat. Or, not eat enough. So when you don't eat enough, then you're sitting in one corner of the room. I mean, I remember when I was young, I could hardly fast. And so when my mom used to say, oh, everybody has to fast, I would be like, can I go to sleep? I was trying to find some escape from that torture. Okay, let's go to sleep. At least hours will pass. She was like, no, when you're fasting, then you don't go to sleep. Now, however, if you think that you have a medical condition, that your stomach is empty, you have to go to sleep, then you go to sleep. Because the idea is to keep the body and the soul together. Okay, so there's no hard and fast rule that says how much you should eat, how much you should not eat, right? When you should eat, when you should not eat, right? So then there are some do's and don'ts on the food itself. And as you can see, Prabhupada did not dwell too much. If you look at the purport of this verse, Prabhupada has not talked too much about the quantities of eating, right? What he has immediately talked about? Can you read the purport and tell me what is Prabhupada focusing on as far as eating is there? As soon as Prabhupada goes into the purport, very early in the purport, he starts talking about eating.
Offer it to Krishna and eat, and don't eat for like animal food that would cause ignorance. Eat more.
Right. So here Prabhupada immediately went and talked about not just the quantities, too much, too little, but he's also talking about what you should eat and what you should not eat. Right? So clearly he just said that do not eat meat. Clearly he has said that, right? Because when you're eating meat, then you're killing somebody and then you are getting torture. You're torturing somebody, you'll get this sinful reaction for that. Right? All the consciousness of the animal gets into the food and you eat it and it goes inside. And it's interesting that, for a non-vegetarian who's eating all this meat, the stomach is like a graveyard where you put all the dead bodies. Right? So Prabhupada has hit the nail on the head right there by he's saying immediately when it comes to talk, he's immediately saying, okay, first and foremost, quality check, no meat, no eggs, no alcohol, right? Like that. He's immediately said, don't do that there. Right? So then one may ask that, okay, if we say that eating meat is bad because you killed something, right? And that animal went through painful transformation, then what about plants? Plants are supposed to be alive or dead. Plants also have life, right? So what about plants? Are we allowed to eat plants? Right? Then that puts us into a very dicey situation. Then, yeah, plants also have got life. And, if you try to cut them, they also feel. But the feeling is very less, but they feel. So my question now is that, what should we do? This means that over here, I cannot, right? Right? But there's a verse from the Shastra that just says that, I'm forgetting the verse, apadani chatuspadam, ahastani chahastani, apadani chatuspadam. So what it means is that those who do not have hands will fall victim to those who have hands. Those who do not have legs will fall victim to those who have legs, right? For example, if there's an insect that is crawling on the ground, no legs, right, will get eaten by a hen who has got legs, like that, right? Falguni tatra mahatam, jivo jivasya jivanam. So it's describing this material world. And it's describing this material world, they are saying that the weak will fall victim to the strong. Now, you agree with that line or not? Do the weak fall victim to the strong? Have you seen that happening around you? Yes?
Mataji, big fish eats small fish.
There you go.
And
Yes. Yes. That's how it happens. So this world is like this, material world is like that, right? So then for our survival, we will eat. We will eat, right? So now comes 9.26. which is patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tat aham bhakti uparitam ashnani prayatatmana. So he says that if one offers me with love and devotion, a fruit, a leaf, a water, like that, right? So Krishna has said, this is what. Krishna did not say that give me matanam, chopanam, omeletanam. He did not say any of that things, like chickenam, fish fry. He did not say any of that, right? So he did not say anything. You follow Krishna's rules and regulations, right? And then there is also, he was also explaining that when you cook, okay, so he said patram pushpam phalam toyam, okay, so let me get some leafy vegetable, let's cook, let's do that salad, this, that, let's eat. Like, no, you have to first offer it to Krishna, right? And there was a sloka that was mentioned in the purport, right? A line which is quoted that a person, if you don't do it, then you are eating only sin. Does that verse sound familiar to you? Eats only sin?
Yes, Mataji. 3.13.
3.13, exactly right? 3.13 talks about that one will verily eat only sin. If you do not follow the scriptures and offer the food first to Vishnu, then you verily eat only sin. Right? But if you offer things to the Lord, then there's a very nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. And as soon as I bring up that verse, you will say, yeah, I know that. So let's see if I remember correctly. Let us see. It is in the 11th canto. Okay. So this is where the conversation is happening between Uddhav and Krishna. And Krishna is leaving this planet and he's going away. And he's telling Uddhav that you stay back. And Uddhav is like, I don't want to go. But ultimately, Uddhav stays back, listens to Krishna. And so, bringing up this verse from the Bhagavatam, Tvaya Tvayopabhukta Shragandha Vasolankara Charchitaha Uchishta Bhojino Dasas Tava Maya Jayemahi. Does it sound familiar? Tvaya Upabhukta Shragandha Vasolankara Charchitaha Uchishta Bhojino Dasas Tava Maya Jayemahi. Simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, fragrant oils, clothes and ornaments that you have already enjoyed, and by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will indeed conquer your illusory energy. What do you say about that proposal? That henceforth live your life like that. Eat what is the remnant of Krishna. You want to apply perfume, okay, first apply it to Krishna. You want to wear nice clothes, okay, first put good clothes on Krishna. This is a verse that we sing at ISV, that at the time of prasadam prayers, right? So this is important, right? It's so important that if you are eating prasad, it's the power of prasad, right? That if you are eating prasad, prasad means mercy. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hane rasya pajayate prasanna cetasi yasu buddhi pariya vasisya. Prasad, by your mercy. So this food, these remnants of Krishna are also Krishna's mercy. They also Krishna's mercy to us. And so when we charge ourselves with all these remnants, then Maya cannot do anything to us. So this is the double thing, right? It also gives you, boosts you, and then it also saves you from other things, from sin. Right? Then people say, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat that, I'm going to get this one, I'm going to get this thing. Oh, you should eat meat. If you don't eat fish, where will you get your vitamin B12 or beef or whatever they might just say, right? But then, our acharyas say that if you eat all that kind of nonsense food, then you're going to eat only one vitamin, and that is vitamin S, and that is vitamin sin. That's all you're going to get from it, right? So stick to what Krishna is saying. And so now, after Prabhupada has qualified and said, what you should eat, only food that is offered to Krishna, right? And no meat, no nothing like that, right? Then comes the question, how much? And then our verse comes in, eats too little, eats too much. And then how much you eat and how much you don't eat also depends. If by eating you're able to do your service properly, then by all means eat. Right? Even on a fasting day, if you have to do seva, then you eat. It is better to do your seva joyfully. Like that. Right? Because seva itself is an austerity on ourselves. And then comes the question that how will I know how much? Like 6 feet, so 1 chapati per feet of your height. 1 foot, 1 chapati, 2 feet, 2 chapati, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. How do we determine? Right? So in our Shastras, in Ayurveda, they say that, right? So Ayurvedas, they will tell you, the indications that our body is going to give us an indication when it is full. Okay? And how do you know when it is, how you're full, how you're not full? So they say that when you're eating your food, you're eating, honoring the prasadam, and then you belch. You know what is a belch, right? Dikarana. So when you belch. So a person who stops eating when he belches for the first time is a yogi. A person who continues to eat after having one belch and then lets out another belch and then stops, he's a bhogi. He's eating more than necessary. And a person, then the third belch will come because eating. A person who eats after the third, continues to eat after the third belch is guaranteed rogi. So yogi, bhogi, and a rogi. Rogi means deceased, right? So that is an indication. So what happens in our stomach here is that as we are eating our food, the food goes, there is air in our body. So there's food inside the stomach. And as we start to push the food inside the stomach, the air is inside, it gets compressed, right? And then you're drinking some water also. So the space in the stomach is being occupied now. Empty stomach is now being full, right? And then it reaches a particular level, the air is like too much compressed there. So it tries to find an escape. So it'll come out from in the direction of the mouth, right? And that is known as a belch. So that's an indication, hey, now it's really, really full, right? So they say that certain percentage of when we're eating, certain percent, you should only eat till a certain percentage of the stomach is full. Like half of the stomach should be full of food, maybe another quarter should be water, another quarter should be air, right? And anything more, like when we eat food also, when we eat the food quickly, we're also taking air with it, right? So many times you see small babies are there, right? When they drink milk from the bottle, after that they cry, right? Because they took in so much of air inside the body, and now there is discomfort in the body, and then they cry, and then we have to birth them and things like that, right? So there is scientific reason behind that. There is Ayurveda behind that explaining you that don't do that. And this was saying you like yogaḥ, right? You have to be balanced in how much you eat and how much you don't eat, right? Otherwise, it will be yogi, bhogi, and a rogi, right? But sometimes people say that, okay, when should I drink water? Should I drink water when I'm eating? Should I drink water after I'm eating? When should I eat the water, right? Drink the water. Yeah, go ahead, Varshana Mataji.
Mataji, in Ayurveda, it is said that your hand, this fist which you make, it is shaped like heart. And, they say that when you take food, whatever raw food, whatever comes in your palm, in your hand, that much only is good enough for one person.
Right. Correct. Yeah. And that is why the amount of food you eat will be in proportion to the body, right? A big man will have a big fist, a small child will have a small fist, but that's a good yardstick, right? And the body keeps telling us, you know, we keep on eating. And sometimes what happens if you're eating, the food, the air inside is there, you know, getting compressed, you're eating, and then so your stomach will start hurting. And then what will we do? We go and get some Hajmola. What the Hajmola will do, it will release all the air out. So after Hajmola, you do 2 or 3 burps, and it's like, okay, where's the next samosa? Let me eat that also. So that is how the indulgence then starts, you know. So this verse is saying that don't do that. You have a balance between this and that. Don't eat it like that, right? So this was saying that I should just eat, you know, in a balanced amount of way. Because if you, and then also don't eat, you know, like too much. Because if you eat too much, where does it show? It will accumulate on the waist, right? Around the waist. You'll have a lot of accumulation, storage. We are not squirrels. We're not supposed to store our food. We are capable of making our food 12 hours, 12 months of the year. So we are good over there, right? So anything on food, any questions that you have on food that you want to be addressed here? Yuktahara viharasya. Yukta, balanced. Okay, then, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Mataji. It is said in Ayurveda that food should be eaten only twice in a day. One in the breakfast you can have fruits, because it is because if you mix fruits and the grains together, it becomes difficult for the stomach to digest it. So it's better to have fruits in the morning. And if you want to take dry fruit also, that should be soaked and then peeled, and then only it should be eaten. But it should be in a counted quantity, not that means you have it just like that, you see. So that was one. And then it was guided. They guided. Actually, Janma Mataji had done a course, and she had given us this guidance. And she was telling that in the afternoon, the food should be before 12 o'clock. Between 11, 11:30, 12, you see, finish off with your lunch. And then in the evening, by about 5, finish off. Before the sun sets, finish off your dinner. She told, this is what is told in Ayurveda, that you will never have a stomach problem.
Correct. So, and then after sunset, you're supposed to go to sleep.
You are supposed to say, and at night you can have a glass of milk if you are feeling too hungry or something. You see, a glass of milk is good. Right. Yeah. So this is how it should be followed. But Mataji, in Grastha Jivan, it becomes really difficult because you have to look into the demands of everybody and see how they want it.
Yeah, not only Grastha Jivan, I mean, even in office, you get a lunch break at 12 o'clock. So how can you finish your lunch at 11, right? You'll be in meetings. And nowadays, of course, meetings happen even during the lunchtime because people are working from home. So they expect you to work. So the plate is also right next to you. You're eating and your hands are doing it. So Kali Yuga is a messed up thing. So yeah, definitely. It is like that. Yeah. Then, yeah, good point. So now let's look at the next part. What was the next part of this today's verse?
Sleeping.
Sleeping. So what was about sleeping? There was a question about sleeping. And then Madhav Sangini Mataji wanted to know that she needs to sleep more than 6 hours. And if she doesn't do that, then after 3rd or 4th day, she starts feeling bad. And Sudapa Mataji was saying that she feels nowadays she's sleeping too much. Right? So the 6-hour rule is just a general rule. Okay? It's not a rule to be applied to everybody. It's not a rule that can be applied to people in all stages of life. Like when a child is born, how many hours does a child sleep?
Many, I mean, sometimes 8 hours, 7 hours. During the day they sleep, at night they are awake.
Yeah, but in the night they'll be awake for 10 minutes. Then you go to sleep for 2 hours, then wake you up in another 2 hours,
Again.
then try for 10 minutes. But so if you add, they are only awake for 2 hours, maybe. Right? If a child wakes you up 12 times for 10 minutes, right? They have only wasted your 2 hours. In 22 hours they have slept. Right? So how much should a person sleep depends on, again, on the type of body that you have. Okay? So if you think that after trying to stay awake at, sleep only for 6 hours, and the 4th day you're feeling so bad that you cannot do anything, then you need to adjust. You need to sleep more. Right? Sometimes we come back from a trip to India. We are feeling jet lag. You will need to sleep more. Suppose you went and underwent an operation. You need to sleep more to let the body, rejuvenate. Right? As with age, what happens is the older people tend to sleep less, and younger people tend to sleep more. Okay? And here what he's saying is that and this eating and the sleeping is also connected to each other. He says that if you eat too much, and that's what Ayurveda is telling and the scriptures are telling, that if you eat too much, what's going to happen is that you will dream.
Yes.
And in this verse, Prabhupada is saying you will dream, and as a consequence, you will sleep more. So, interesting thing, first you eat more, then you go to sleep. Sleep will come, right? Because all the blood is gushing towards the stomach to digest all the food that you put there. And then now you will feel sleepy. And then because of the food, extra food that you will start dreaming. And have you ever noticed that, sometimes right at the time when you set the alarm to wake up in the morning, some dream starts to come. And we are so engrossed in the dream that when we wake up, the alarm was ringing, nobody heard that, and it's already 15 minutes. And it's like, oh, wow, 15 minutes have gone? Because dreaming. So you oversleep when you are dreaming. So Prabhupada is saying here that don't do that. Right? Krishna is telling him that you make a balance in your life, right? You make a balance. Don't sleep too little, don't sleep too less. So if you think that, sometimes we will just sleep, like sometimes people will say, oh, today is weekend, so I should sleep more. Now there should be a justification as to why you should sleep more on the weekend. Maybe you have a job that you could not sleep enough during the weekend, then you're sleeping on weekend, that's fine. But if you're saying that, oh no, this is a weekend because it's a weekend, everybody sleeps in late, I will also sleep in late. And then I will go and have my breakfast at 11 o'clock. And then I'll have a late lunch. And then in the night, I'll have dinner, like that. So your whole Ayurvedic principle is completely messed up, right? So we need to regulate ourselves and whatever we eat and whatever we sleep, like that. Otherwise, if we don't, why is it difficult for us to regulate? First thing, why do you think it is difficult? What makes it so difficult?
I think it is a mental setup, Mataji, nothing else. It is the mind only which tells us to do this and do that.
And
actually,
why?
if you're...
And why does the mind tell you to do that? Who is above the mind?
I think laziness, basically.
Intelligence above the mind.
Okay, and above the... So intelligence is saying, let's sleep on a weekend, right? And we'll snuggle inside the comfort a little bit more. We'll turn off the heat a little bit more. We'll turn on some music like that, but I'll stay in my bed, right? Sometimes I say like, oh yeah, I did wake up, but I was just lazing around in my bed. What were you doing lazing around in your bed, right? You should have gotten up. Look at small children, right? They do sleep, go to sleep early. When they get up, as soon as they get up, they get out of the bed. You hardly see them lazing around, isn't it? They immediately start walking here and there. It's only
Probably
as
they dream about their toys and immediately, Mataji, in the morning they pick up their toys and start playing.
Right. So they will, yeah. So they will, and so they will get up. But then as they grow, you will see that they learn to laze around. I noticed that in my daughter, that, I noticed as soon as when she was young, she would just get up about 2 years like that. And one day I noticed that she had gotten up, her eyes were open and she was still lying in the bed. And I was like, oh, this is a transition. She's becoming like me, doesn't want to get out of the bed. So the reason it becomes difficult for us is that we think that this particular body this body that we have is a means for me to enjoy. Right? Nice satin bed sheets are there, nice fluffy comforter is there, air conditioner is working. It's holiday, it's Saturday. Let's enjoy it. Right? But the moment you change the connection and bring in bhakti yoga into your life, and you say, no, this body is meant to serve Krishna. How can I stay in bed? Krishna will be hungry. Krishna has to be given bath. Krishna has to be this. Krishna takes bath every day. There's no weekend for Krishna. Right? So you will get up and so when you bring in devotional service, this regulation will happen automatically. And when you get into this mood of devotional service, then you want to utilize every minute of your day, every minute of your time. You want to utilize it in the service of Krishna. So as people become advanced in devotional service, there are certain symptoms like Nam Gane Ruchi, which basically means that you like to glorify Krishna. If you're not advanced in devotional service, some neophyte people, they feel ashamed to even tell that they are, they are thinking of God or they are connected to God. They won't say that. It's more like a private thing, right? But then people like Prabhupada, they will cross oceans to do kirtan of Krishna, to glorify Krishna, like that, So there are symptoms. They want to go and stay at places where, Krishna used to stay. They like to make trips to the Dham and they like to go there. Several times they will go. Any opportunity they'll go, or any holiday has come, let's go to the temple. Let's go to the temple. Like, because the taste has developed to go and do those things. So one of the qualities of a person advanced in devotional service is avyarth kalatvam. Avyarth kalatvam means that you do not waste even one single moment. Not even a single moment. Sometimes you will go. Friends are sitting down and you're supposed to chant, but there's some nice gossip happening. The hand is in the bead bag and, it's happening, and then you are listening and you're not speaking because you're chanting, but you're listening to that. And after some time, you start, somebody will say, okay, what's your opinion about that? Oh, yeah, her sari was very beautiful. And then again, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Taste is not there, right? So a pure devotee of the Lord will not waste a time. So that's why I'm saying, don't sleep too much, because for a pure devotee of the Lord, sleeping is a complete waste of time. And there's a very nice poem, and Varshana Mataji likes poems. It is by an English author, and I was very impressed. I was impressed as a young child on the lyrics part of it, as to how how do I find that? I'll have to Google that. All right, found it. Let me start sharing my screen here with you. Okay, can you see it?
Not yet.
Okay, let's bring up. Okay, yeah. So this poem is called Today, right? And I learned that when I was like in 5-6 year old or something like that, or 8, 9 maybe. So it's on the old English style. So I'm just still going to read it for you here, and I'm going to increase the font so that all of you can watch it. And there are so many things that come our way. Gosh, if you go to internet, it's so dangerous. Okay, so he's talking about today. So here had been dawning another blue day. Think wilt thou let it slip useless away? Out of eternity, this new day is born. Into eternity at night will return. Behold it aforetime no eye ever did. So soon it forever from all eyes is hid. Here hath been dawning another blue day. Think wilt thou let it slip useless away? This is such a powerful poem. I mean, he made it, I don't know if I wrote it in which mood, but for us in devotional service, not every day, every moment counts. And once a moment is past, you can never get it back. It's not money. One moment wasted is wasted. There is no way, no recovery. You can lose money in a business, but then you can do more powerful and strong business and earn and then square away with your losses. But the time that is lost is completely lost. You cannot do anything about the time that is lost. So that's why engage your mind always in doing devotional service of the Lord, and that will automatically regulate your things. Automatically. Automatically your food will be controlled. Why? Because you will go and do seva. When you're doing seva, you'll say, okay, I like food, so let me stay close to the food. So you go and volunteer in the kitchen. And when you volunteer in the kitchen, then you are like, okay, I need to chop, 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 chop. Oh, but then, Sukumal Radhe Mati is standing there and says, oh, you can't eat when you're chopping. You go 6 hours of chopping. And then, of course, because you're doing stuff for Krishna, so you start liking it, right? So the key takeaway point for us here is that Krishna is talking about maintaining a balance. And those balance points can be different for different people, right? Do not become a Kumbhkarna who used to sleep for 6 months. Do not become Lord Jagannath, also who never sleeps. His eyes are open all the time, like that. So it's all about maintaining a balance in life, as much as maintaining a balance is very important in everything in our lives, like that. Okay. So with that, I'll bring the class to a close here. Thank you so much for joining.
Hare Krishna, Madhuri, one question I heard in one of the lectures, but I haven't read it anywhere, so I'm not sure whether it is correct or not. Mataji, when Lord Krishna, you see, according to the people, you see, when the arrow you see, hit his foot and he left the body, according to, you see, just to show it to the society. Mataji, it is said that the heart of the Lord was not burnt, and it was same thing is kept in Jagannath Puri in the altar. This is what I heard, Mataji.
I have not heard it. It's the first time I'm hearing about it. Yeah. You might want to research it a little bit more. Yeah. 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 I do hear about cremation of Krishna. In the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that Arjuna did the cremation for Krishna. And he returns to, from Dwarka, he returns to Hastinapur, where Yudhishthira is, and tells him that Krishna is no more. But I didn't hear of this, read of that. We can research more and get back. But
no, Mataji, I just heard it, and I was a little shocked in the sense that we go to Jagannath Puri. We went to Jagannath Puri so many times, and we never heard this kind of a thing there.
Yeah.
But somebody did mention
So research only into our scriptures to find if there are any scriptural evidence like
that. Correct.
Awesome. Okay, thank you for your lively participation, dear devotees. We will meet again, Krishna willing, on Sunday morning and continue our conversations on the Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for being there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji.
Now you can sleep more than 6 hours.